With the drone modeling completed, now we're ready to animate it. I'm going to go in and I'm going to combine elements that will remain static throughout the animation. And I'll start by selecting all the components of the body, including the solar panels. And once I've selected them, I'll hold down the space bar, mesh, and combine. And when you deselect and select again, you'll see all that geometry should be outlined with the green lines. I'm going to do the same with the propeller. I'll marquee select all the components that comprise it, and I'll hold down the space bar, going to mesh and combine. In our side view, we'll introduce the skeletal system in the IK kinematics to animate the arm. Holding down the space bar, going to skeleton, at the top of the menu, create joints. I'll put the main bone down below the body outside the geometry, and then I'll click where the shoulder would be, the elbow, and then the hand. Hitting return on the keyboard, the whole skeleton will turn green. You'll notice that if you select the main bone at the bottom, the whole skeleton will move as well. Now I want to make sure that the skeleton is inside the arm, so I'll go to my top view, and there I'll move it to make sure it's inside the geometry. Now we need to parent each piece of the arm to its respective bone so that when the IK kinematics moves, the geometry moves with it. I'll start by selecting this part of the arm, and then shift selecting the corresponding bone and hitting P to parent. I'll do the same with this forearm piece, selecting the geometry first, and then the skeleton, and hitting P to parent. I'll also want to parent the little claw shape to the ball as well. I'll select each one separately, select the sphere at the bottom of the geometric arm, and hit P to parent, and the same with the other. Now I'll introduce the IK kinematics. I'll hold down the space bar, I'll go to skeleton, and halfway down is create IK handle. I'll first click where the shoulder would be, and then on the hand. And if I grab the vertices now, I can articulate the arm. I'm going to leave it close to the body while it's flying so that when we animate it, it reaches down into the hole on the planet and picks up the object. I'm going to go to my perspective view now. Now we need to tie this all together as one collective entity that will fly across our planet landscape, land, and then the arm will articulate. And because we've got two different animation processes, the keyframe for the propeller and then the IK kinematics with the bone, everything has to be parented to one particular entity. Going to the top view, I'll hold down the space bar, create NURBS primitives circle. And I'll drag a circle that's just beyond the parameters of the landing gear. And going to my perspective view, I should see something like this. Now I want the circle to be closer with the level of the actual little landing gear. We'll first start by selecting the body, and then we'll shift select the main bone outside the body, and I'll hit P to parent. And if I were to select that main bone now, and I should be able to move everything in the group now with the exception of the propeller. So the propeller needs to be parented there as well. With the propeller selected, I'll shift select the main bone, and I'll hit P to parent. I'll select the parent bone at the bottom, that main bone. The whole model moves as well. Now we're going to parent the main bone, which holds the whole model together, to the large ring at the bottom. Selecting that main bone, shift selecting the circle, I'll hit P to parent. Now if I select the circle, it controls the position of the entire drone. Now because we're using IK kinematics, we need to parent that kinematics, those brown lines that you see that radiate in the form of vertices. I need to select one of them, shift select the circle at the bottom, and hit P to parent as well. Now if I were to select the circle, which will control the animation, everything moves with it. Now we're ready to start the animation process.